Hello, kia ora, g'day. It's Monday the 6th of July. Thank you for joining me as we take a look at Australia's weather forecast right through until Sunday. On the Monday morning satellite imagery, you can see some large cloudy areas around Queensland coming into New South Wales. Plenty of cloud or cloudy periods around the eastern side of Australia with showers. That's going to be off and on for the week ahead. High pressure is around the southeast, so the winds are light, but there is some lower cloud that's sort of trapped down there, so it might be gloomy in a few areas around some parts of Tasmania and Victoria, even South Australia also, and around that high pressure zone. And then around WA, we've got a few showers and thunderstorms. Most of those showers are around the southwest, but there are still a few isolated thunderstorms for some places further inland, and the driest weather is around the Northern Territory at the moment. So here is the air pressure map for this afternoon around the Eastern time, 4 o'clock Eastern time. High pressure smack bang over the top of Tassie and another area of high pressure south of WA. So the wind flow around that main high pressure zone over Tasmania, coupled with the stormier low that's around New Zealand, producing this polar southerly wind into the Tasman Sea. So it's cold around Lord Howe Island at the moment and around Norfolk Island with that polar weather coming through, the polar southerly change. And that's also producing cloud and lower temperatures around the eastern side of Australia. That easterly wind, also going around the high pressure zones to the south, carries on over towards the west coast. It's got a bit of a wavy shape to it. That also helps usually produce a few showers and thunderstorms inland. So here is the forecast for Tuesday. There are those showers and thunderstorms I mentioned. You can see a few of them inland with the easterly flow as it moves from east coast over to west coast. High pressure still in the southeast here, so the winds are light, but the centre of it almost off the screen. So it's sort of for a time it drops southwards. That placement, that's the reason why you're getting these colder or cooler southeasterly winds off the Tasman Sea, and why Lord Howe and Norfolk Island have got colder, more wintry weather. Now the showers aren't necessarily widespread for everybody all the time and not necessarily big rainfall totals, but they're in the mix, and that's why you see that blue shading all along the eastern side. Heavier falls north of Innisfail up towards Cairns and Port Douglas as we go through Tuesday. Mostly dry though for large parts of more populated areas around WA. Still a few isolated showers though, maybe from Perth further around past Albany in that southwest corner, but there is high pressure pretty much in control there. Now on Wednesday, that high pressure slides eastwards. It kind of gets absorbed back to this main area of high pressure, which is close to Tasmania, pretty much over you, but you might still get a few coastal showers, especially on that eastern and southeastern side, as we see once again along coastal parts of New South Wales and the eastern side of Queensland. Some showers coming through. One or two could be heavy, most of them aren't too significant, and once you're further inland, or certainly over the Great Dividing Range, it is dry for many of you. Once you're into the middle part of Australia, things do change. We've got more convergence here, more thunderstorms that'll be popping up and showers really around places like Alice Springs and further down towards Ceduna in South Australia. You've got the risk of a thunderstorm or at least just some showers coming on through. Still mostly dry though, further towards Perth. Certainly a few coastal showers in the southwest, but dry for many places. And it's dry for a large part of the Northern Territory, although in the top end we do see these showers here along the eastern side. On Thursday, those showers continue on. Some of them might move in towards the Katherine region, which we don't typically expect at this time of the year. More showers into the very southeast corner of the Northern Territory, but the main risk, as you can see there, is for South Australia. Now you've got high pressure, a very small area of it kind of growing there, mostly connected up to this main high pressure system that is leaving Tasmania and leaving Australia. So we will see a few inland thunderstorms around South Australia and showers possibly coming down to the southern coastline, but it's mostly dry in Adelaide and through the southeast corner. Dry for Victoria, dry in the ACT. And Tassie's still mostly dry, but the showers move around a little bit. You might get a few of those in the northwest side. But the eastern showers, they continue on right again from New South Wales right up to the tropical part of Queensland. And just a few showers south of Bunbury in WA. That's ahead of the next low pressure zone. It's not much of one. It's going to fall apart as it moves in. It moves in on Friday and like I say, does pretty much crumble as it does so. But there could be thunderstorms and a period of rain coming on in here. Rainfall totals south of Bunbury around about 30 millimetres. It might go a little higher than that. And northwards of there are 10, 15 millimetres. And once you're north of Geraldton and Carnarvon, those areas, the rainfall tapers right off. Northerly winds around Esperance. Those northerly winds will build west of Ceduna, and a very light north to northwesterly wind develops around some parts of Victoria, but I don't think you'll notice it much because high pressure that is out in the southern Tasman Sea, stretching right back almost to the border of South Australia. The thunderstorms and the inland showers, they drift a little more into Queensland and into the very northwest side of New South Wales. And once more, the showers carry on, mainly north of Sydney, but you're still seeing showers right along the eastern side of Australia, right up into the tropics. Let's go into the weekend now. So the low that's falling apart, or has fallen apart, in WA produces some inland thunderstorms. They could reach Kalgoorlie later into the day and come right down to the southern coastline. On the western side, not as much rainfall falling once that comes on in. It's dry as you move over towards South Australia, but maybe the risk of a shower or two is possible along the eastern side and also the very western side of New South Wales and the western half of Victoria. But the pale blue there indicating it might even be less than 1 millimetre, so may not be very much unless you get perhaps an isolated thunderstorm. Thunderstorm risks are a little higher for southern parts of inland Queensland, maybe a little bit of spillover into New South Wales. Generally dry though, and the coastal showers continue once again north of Sydney. Maybe a few more dry spells coming into the Queensland coastline though as we go through the weekend. And in Tasmania, the northwest wind picks up as the polar boundary surges up next to you, and so that produces west coast rain or showers. On Sunday, the polar boundary, not the tropical one, the polar boundary brushes southern parts of Tasmania. So you'll feel that in Hobart. West to southwest winds will pick up a bit. They become gusty in exposed areas and around higher elevation areas. There might even be a very light dusting of snow at the higher points around the island. Most of the wet weather is along the western side, but some of it does come in to northern facing areas. And we've got more showers, perhaps more of them than we saw on Saturday, around Victoria, South Australia, and a wee bit into New South Wales. It depends on where you are. That doesn't look like a lot of wet weather based on that map. And because the westerly is cranking up a little bit, that pushes away the showers along much of the coastline of New South Wales, and they get pushed out to sea, where there is a wee bit of high pressure. Still some showers for the islands, though, off over the Tasman. And for most of Queensland, it's dry. There might still be a few remaining tropical showers and one or two in the very, very southeast. But again, a very slight westerly breeze picking up should push most of those away. So most of the heavier showers outside of Tassie will be through inland parts of WA. Before I go, here is the rainfall map for the next several days ahead. So most of the heavy rain you see here around the east coast, coastal parts of New South Wales, is actually offshore. When you zoom in closer to land, 30 millimetre totals are the highest that I'm seeing along the coastline. And many places are still actually further down around 10 or 15 or even 5 millimetres. So we do see showers around New South Wales, not many of them inland, certainly right in the heart of New South Wales. In Queensland, similar story to New South Wales, large dry areas broken up with a few downpours and showers, maybe a few thunderstorms. Heaviest falls Innisfail to Cairns. That's where you might be seeing up to 60 or 80 millimetres over the next week ahead. South Australia, seeing a variety of weather with dry areas like around Adelaide, not very wet, but further inland. Chance of those thunderstorms continuing on. South Australia, most of the wet weather risks are further down around Alice Springs. And in WA, you've got a mix of weather coming through, as you can see here with these inland thunderstorms, and then that low, of course, comes through. Rainfall totals in the very southwest are getting up around 40, maybe 50 millimetres over the next week ahead. Similar kind of totals around Tasmania. And if you're in the ACT, it is looking mostly dry over the next several days. That's all from me. Catch you again tomorrow, Tuesday, with our next Australia update. See you then.